80% of New Zealand's residents live in urban areas. Human activity that once did so much to reduce bird populations now begins to turn the tide. Cities are becoming safer for Kereru than the bush where they once thrived.
Whether we like it or not, over the next 20 years, over half the world's population are going to live in urban areas, and that's true of New Zealand too. This makes green space even the more important for us and our communities. Not just the wildlife, but the communities that live in those areas. They provide a refuge from predators, from rats and from stoats and weasels, the sort of predators that people control in their backyards as a matter of course. And of course people also plant food trees just because they look good, but coincidentally they're often also very good for the native wildlife. What this means for us is that this is a remarkable opportunity to do the sorts of social and biological science that we wouldn't otherwise have. And for us, Kereru are a wonderful flagship species for that process. They're so easy to see, people identify with them, and so we are hoping to track these animals about the landscape, trying to understand how they move between their more traditional landscapes, those reserves, through urban reserves, through agricultural landscapes, and of course to these highly modified urban reserves landscapes. And so what we do is we install harness transmitters, these radio transmitters, on the bird, which emit a radio signal which can be heard in good conditions 8 to 10 kilometres away, and that's improved, of course, if we can get up on top of a hill, or the bird itself, of course, is not on the ground, it's in the air as well.
The behaviour of the Kereru makes them especially good candidates for research on long-range movements. They travel very long distances.
They are quite a mobile species, and that makes them quite good in today's environment where we've got farmland and bush patches through it. These birds can fly considerable distances, movements of several kilometres in a day is nothing for them, but also at certain times of the year they'll fly tens of kilometres. Makes them difficult to study at times, but most fascinating. And we've put a satellite transmitter on a few birds in Southland because they go so far. And one bird, that the extremes between where it went was over 100 kilometres, from the Hokanui Hills near Gore right across Invercargill to across Fovo Strait to Stewart Island.
What we have here is a very young forest, missing a lot of the big old podocarps that were felled and burnt over 100 years ago. And in 500 years' time, it's going to take that length of time for the little saplings that we're putting in now that are about my height to grow to be the tall emergent trees sticking up out of the forest like these big pines here. So it's really getting that whole ecosystem restored back to what it used to be like before humans came here. The sanctuary is 225 hectares, surrounded by a fence that's 8.6 kilometres long, and it's been designed to keep out burrowing animals and climbing animals such as cats and possums and rats, and also stock like cattle and goats and pigs, which are on our boundaries. Well, these boxes are designed to be multi-purpose, so they can accommodate traps to catch stoats, they can accommodate bait for when we want to poison the mice that we're doing at the moment. We put the bait in these little containers, and we can put tracking trays in here with paper so that animals can leave their little footprints behind. So we use them for auditing to see whether or not we've actually got any animals in here that we might not want. We've got this wire mesh on the outside to stop birds getting in here with just a small hole, small enough, large enough to allow stoats to go through. But we don't have any stoats, but we keep looking for them. The vegetation is recovering from possum browse. There's lots of flowers and fruits, lots of insects that have recovered since rats were removed. And so the birds we're finding are breeding more successfully here than elsewhere because there's so much food around for them. We have released 9 Kereru in the sanctuary. We've taken the opportunity to release them here to get Kereru into this area of Wellington for the first time. We were very excited to find in the last year that we've had 2 pairs showing courtship in the sanctuary, in that they've been doing display dives over the lake, and we see them on that side and we see them on this side, and getting much more regular sightings of them, which is really exciting. And then we found a nest up here, right up in the steep slope up here in the top of a tiny little kawa. When we had Kereru breed in the sanctuary for the first time, we were able to get a little camera right up close to the nest, and we recorded on video the images of the adults feeding the chick and the growth of that chick over the time it was in the nest. So that chick fledged successfully. Had he been outside the sanctuary, that nest may not have been successful, but being in the safety of the sanctuary, away from the usual predators, the cats and the rats and the stoats, we managed to get this chick fledged.
New Zealanders' love of gardening provides a rich bounty of food that is often far beyond what they would find naturally. Gardens that work for birds are complex. Kereru eat different foods at different times of the year. Providing food all year round is helpful to them. By working together, groups of neighbours can provide something each season, dividing up fruiting and flowering periods between them. For Kereru, bigger trees are best for roosting, and fruiting trees for food.
One of the lovely things about living near the sanctuary is you often get birds turning up in your backyard. And what we think would be a really nice thing for people to do, which is really good for the birds, is to plant a range of trees and shrubs to encourage those birds in the backyard and give them food year round. So trees and shrubs that might flower and fruit at different times, so that birds can be in your backyard throughout the year, and so people can enjoy them. What we're not so keen on people doing is setting up feeders in their backyard, especially if they're close to the sanctuary, because it pulls the birds out of the sanctuary into their gardens, and it attracts a whole lot of birds to one location, so you have a really active hotspot which can be attractive to cats and mustelids and rats. The safer thing is to actually have them foraging on natural fruits and flowers high up in the trees where they can be much safer. People could get out there and do some rat control, set traps for rats because they certainly eat the birds, get into possum control if there's nothing happening locally, and even set traps for ferrets and stoats, and help deal to those pests out there that are waiting to gobble up our birds.
But gardens have other dangers.
If a Kereru can see through one window and through the next to forest or trees outside, then they'll attempt to fly through, and this results in impact and can be fatal.
You are looking at the imprint of feather dust left by a bird that hit a window in Marlborough. Curtains or objects in the window make Kereru aware that there is something there. Kereru visit the same spots year after year.
It would be remarkable if, in 10-20 years, our children could actually know and see Kereru in their backyards on a daily basis, that this wasn't a special thing, that this was just a part of their environment.
We have the chance to develop a special bond with the Kereru, one that for many will be felt for a lifetime, just by planting a tree.